For those of you who do not know, Ricky Thornton not only is the owner of Thornton Service Company, he is the state Little League baseball director, and man, that covers a lot of territory, don't it, Ricky?
It certainly does. I range from, of course, Mobile all the way to Huntsville.
And Little League baseball season, the playoffs and All-Star games just about to start.
Yeah, most of the leagues are winding down over the next week or so, and then our first series of district tournaments will begin somewhere around June 23rd. Then we'll go on into state tournaments.
How long have you been the state director?
Going in my 4th year.
Yeah.
It's really challenging. But it's a lot of fun.
I guess you travel quite a bit too.
I
don't
do.
you?
I travel evenings a lot of times. Some on weekends.
Yeah.
So, but it's a lot different than just running the local league.
Oh yeah. I don't know how many kids are involved in state competition, but you were telling me just in the Vestavia Hills alone, how many teams?
Vestavia Hills brings 100 teams,
That's
ages
amazing.
4 through 14. That's a big league.
It really is. Hey, let's talk this morning about yesterday. I don't know if it was just me and my older age, but it was temperatures in the low 80s or so, but it was so muggy, and I thought, my goodness, it's got to be 90 degrees.
Humidity was tremendously high yesterday, and that plays a big factor in everyone's heating and cooling system. If you, like you said, if you feel muggy, then it automatically feels warmer. But if you can control that humidity, get it down to 50%, you automatically feel cooler, even if it's 80 degrees.
Yeah. Talk about Thornton Service Company a little bit.
Well, I got my license from the state in 2007, and been in business since here in Sylacauga. Prior to that, of course, I was a contractor here in Sylacauga for about 25 years. So
Your handprints are on the house I live in, as a matter of fact.
That's right. And a lot of others around here. But I've really enjoyed being in the heat and cooling business. It's a challenge. You get to move from a different place.
How's it changed in just 5 years or so, the technology?
Oh, technology is still changing every day. With the new refrigerants coming in that are replacing some of the old refrigerants that were ozone depleting, and it's
not just anybody can change refrigerants nowadays either.
Well, you're supposed to have an EPA certification in order to even purchase refrigerant. So some folks still get around it, but they're evidently breaking laws to do it.
Hey, I remember, a long time ago, but I remember those box fans in the windows at night. And
yeah, we had those.
We went to window units, and many people now have heating and cooling units. And talk about that a little bit this morning, and talk about tips for people saving money with their units this hot summer.
Yeah, I'm the same way you are. I think I was 12 years old when we put the first window air conditioner in at our house. And boy, that was
the high
a ticket.
cotton, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. But systems are evolving. Around the Sylacauga area, we have a lot of the package units, which are all self-contained outside. Some of them are strictly heat pumps. Some of them are air conditioning with a gas furnace. But we're seeing the trend to go more towards a split system, which is you have an outside unit and an inside unit, and the inside can be either a heat pump or a gas furnace.
Was it a stand-up unit inside or something?
It can be in the attic, it can be under the crawl space, or it can be in a closet. So, a lot of different ways to do that.
Yeah. When you're cooling your home in the summertime, say you're going to work this morning and it's going to be in the mid-80s today, 90 near the weekend, and summer hasn't even arrived yet, how can you best cool your home?
Well, set that thermostat and leave it.
I can't do that.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you have one right back there that we set and leave. Just program it. Yeah, I know. Program it. If you got a programmable thermostat, if you don't, call me. I can get you one. But program it. I have mine at home set at 75 degrees and 50% humidity. We stay comfortable.
75 degrees is hot to me, man.
Well, it might be, but once you get that humidity down to about 50%, you feel cooler.
Now, how does that work?
Well, an air conditioner really is a dehumidifier. You see all of the condensate coming out of those units on the outside with that little white pipe. You see the water running out of it, and sometimes it's kind of wet around, and that's condensate coming from your house. So it removes that condensate from the air, drops the humidity level, automatically feels cooler.
The thermostat, there's so many different type thermostats today.
Yeah, and if you still have the old round dial thermostat that you have to adjust that fashion, you need to get rid of it, get a new digital thermostat. Even if you just get the digital thermostat that's non-programmable, that's the way you need to go now. Replace those old mercury switch thermostats, get rid of them. They were inaccurate from day one, and they're 4 to 5 degrees difference.
Now, you set the thermostat, you said yours is programmed at 75 degrees. Is that 24/7?
Yes, sir. Of course, my wife comes in, and she might crank it down 1 or 2 degrees, but it is programmed at 75.
You're a representative for Bryant, and
Right.
Bryant, one of the staple names in heating and air.
Bryant has been around for years. Some of their products are manufactured in Memphis. I won a factory tour about a month ago. Got to go up and tour the factory where they're making the condensing units, and it's amazing to see that process up there. They start from just raw metal, and it goes through that factory. It's over 1 million square feet.
Well, you don't want to wait until, as they say, the dog days of August or later on in June. Summer officially arrives later this month, and then July is typically a hot month. July, August, and September are really challenging months in the deep south for cooling one's home. What do people need to do now to get ready for the hot months of summer?
Need to clean the coils on the outside unit, make sure they're good and clean. Usually, now one thing that we're blessed with here in Sylacauga is trees. And of course, those oak trees drop those leaves, they go inside there. We need to get those cleaned out so that compressor can breathe, stay cooler, and clean those coils, make sure they're clean. Also check the indoor coils, make sure that they're clean, oil any motors that need to be oiled. But the main thing is change your filter every 30 days. When you pay your power bill, change your filter.
What type filters are recommended?
It really
you
doesn't
buy
make
them very expensive or buy them
no,
cheap?
I buy mine by the case lots, and you can buy them for $2 a piece, or you can buy them for $50 a piece. But as long as you change them every 30 days, it doesn't make any difference.
Yeah. Ricky Thornton from Thornton Service Company, our guest, and your son is involved in the.
He is. Jess has been with me now. This is going into his second year, and he's really learned a lot. He's a big help. Sometimes if he wasn't there, the job wouldn't get done.
Talk about, I know you told me one time you came to my house and was looking at the coils outside and stuff, and grass from grass cutting.
Oh yeah.
Had gotten up there on it.
Yeah. Anytime that you cut the grass around those units, you need to blow the grass away from the unit, because when it comes out that chute on the side of that mower, it's going to go right into that condensing unit and stop up those coils. And then, of course, you have to get me to come out and clean them out for you.
Talk about some spots you've been in, as far as I know you go into some homes in attics, and it would be 85 degrees outside. It'd be quite warmer than that in an attic or something, wouldn't it?
Oh yes, it can get up to 140, 150 degrees in an attic in the hot part of the summertime. Also, one of the first jobs that I did, I was under a house that was very low, and I had finished what I was doing and was starting to inch my way back and got hung.
Uh-oh.
There was a little nail sticking down that I didn't see.
I guess Jess was working with you then.
Jess was not with me then, by myself. And I thought, I don't know how in the world I'm going to get out of here, but I kept wiggling and kept wiggling. Finally got off that nail and was able to get out. It took me about 45 minutes.
I can think about, I'm petrified of wasps, of spiders, and anything that can happen probably would happen underneath the house if I was there doing any kind of work.
Well, the wasps are usually in the outdoor units or in the attic. Spiders are under the house. A lot of people tell me that they've seen snakes under houses. I've never seen a snake in all the years that I've been in and out of houses, underneath houses. Never seen a snake. I've seen snake skins, but never seen a snake.
I would be coming out from under that house in a hurry.
Maybe when they see my big body coming up under there, they'd leave.
Are the units still belt driven?
The commercial units, some of the commercial units are. But no, most of them now are direct drive motors. So and a lot of them are sealed from the factory, where you really can't get in to do any oiling.
You, as you mentioned, you may set your thermostat at 75 degrees or 72 or 73, wherever you're most comfortable. How do you keep the house cool, other than the thermostat set at a certain temperature?
Well, you can always turn your fan on to low speed and just leave it sitting there to circulate some air.
That makes a lot of difference.
It makes some difference. Also, ceiling fans help a lot. They keep air circulating. If we have the low humidity in the house and we feel a constant little air circulation, you're gonna feel cooler. Mm-hmm. Same way with that old box fan you used to have.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and the ceiling fans, are they forward or reverse in the summertime?
Well,
it does make a difference, I think.
You want to pull that cool air up to cool off the upper layers of the air. In the wintertime, you want to pull that warm air that's at the ceiling down.
So it's forward in the summer?
I don't know which one it does.
Anyway, Ricky Thornton, our guest from Thornton Service Company in Sylacauga. And if people would like to get their unit serviced, now you don't just service Bryant, right?
I service all brands. One thing I would like to tell everyone, the old R22 refrigerant is getting pretty high priced. So when you're starting to have problems with those old systems that have the R22, be prepared that the refrigerant is going to be a good bit more than it has been in the past. So it might be time to start thinking about changing those systems out to the new 410A refrigerant.
Refrigerant, how is it lost?
As long as there are no leaks, that refrigerant will stay in that system from now on. You can have leaks in the cooling coils, leaks in the refrigerant lines themselves, leaks outside, leaks inside. We have detectors that we can actually sniff that chlorine gas that's inside. It's a component of the refrigerant.
We used to use soap suds.
Yeah. So you can
tell I'm an expert.
There you go. Sometimes we still use that.
Yeah, Ricky Thornton from Thornton Service Company, our guest this morning. What's the telephone number they can call you?
256-404-4146. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
All right, let's talk a little bit about the units that are on the market today. Where are we talking cost-wise, and what size unit does a home require?
Well, the only way to determine what size unit that a home requires is to do a proper load calculation, and there's a procedure that you have to follow, and it takes probably from start to finish probably takes a couple of hours to go out and get measurements, visualize the home, and then go back in on the computer and do this load calculation. That will determine what is required for that house, and you need to do that on every job. As far as new equipment, there's a lot of new equipment out there. Just saw a piece of equipment that's been introduced from Bryant Carrier last month. that has a 20.5 SEER air conditioning rating and a 13 heat season performance factor. The 13 heat season performance factor is the highest in the industry. There's nothing else out there that can touch it. It's good strictly off the compressor down to 17 degrees. It'll produce 105 degree air at 17 degrees without kicking in heat strips. So that's unheard of in our industry.
Ricky Thornton from Thornton Service Company, our guest here on Daybreak this morning. Thornton Service Company presents a look at your weather forecast. That's coming up in just a little while too. People with older units in their home, what is the lifespan of a unit on average?
I looked at one Saturday. Compressor lasted 2 years in it.
Oh goodness!
That's what they said, more than that. But
now the compressor is a big ticket item, right?
Yeah, it is a big ticket item. But you should see 12 to 15 years, and we see even on out to 20 or further. Mm-hmm. But 12 to 15 years is what you should get out of a system.
Yeah. And I've seen these systems where, you know, there seems to be a pretty low cost or cost that may be comparable to others, but you need to be careful about what you're buying and who you're buying it from and who's installing it.
Installation is at least 60% of the job. If you don't do a proper installation on it, even the best equipment in the world is not going to perform properly. But yeah, you need to buy a premium product. The old saying, you pay for what you get.
Yeah, I've seen them with instead of a concrete pad, they'll have plywood or bricks
or nothing, just sitting on the ground. Yeah, we've seen that a lot of times, and it's just, you know, you got to have a quality installation. You got to get the performance that system will do for you. Ductwork is another issue. You need to check those, make sure your ductwork is not leaking anywhere. And anytime you have a system changed out and you leave the old ductwork in place, that ductwork needs to be gone over. Make sure that it's sealed properly so that you get the adequate airflow.
Yeah, if you're in one room and you feel a good flow and you go to the other end of the house and there's no flow, there's something happening there.
There's a problem there, sure is.
Ricky Thornton from Thornton Service Company, our guest this morning here on Daybreak. And of course, Ricky installed and services our air conditioning and heating system here. And your guys were in here just a few days ago changing the filters. And you know, changing the filters is kind of like your smoke detectors. We don't think about it until something happens.
That's right. Yeah, but there again, as I said earlier, change those filters every 30 days. A good rule of thumb is when you pay your power bill, change your filter. Because if you don't change your filter, the next time you pay that bill, it's going to be a little higher.
Say someone's going to work today and temperature is in the 80s. Their air conditioner is set, the thermostat is set. A lot of sunshine, sun coming in the windows. How do you address that? Blinds closed, or I guess it's personal preference? Keep the air in?
If you can shade the sun from coming into the house, that helps keep that load at a minimum. Of course, like I said earlier, the trees that we have here in Sylacauga is a blessing also. They shade the house, but anything that you can do to keep that sun from coming directly in and heating up in the summertime is a plus. Of course, in the wintertime, it's just the opposite. You want to get those solar rays in to help heat. And it's okay to set your if you normally have your thermostat set at 72, 74 degrees and you leave for work in the morning, it's okay to run it up a couple of degrees. I keep mine set at the same thing 24 hours a day, but it's okay to run it up a couple of degrees. Just don't turn it off when you leave and then come back in at 5:30, 6 o'clock. and turn it back on and expect it to cool the house.
How long does it take to recover? If you've got the unit off and you're just going to turn it on, can it recover?
If you come in at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the evening, in the days in the summer where it's 95 degrees, it might not recover until the wee hours of the morning.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to sit there and run and run and run. And not only is it trying to cool off you and the air in the house, it has to cool off the floor, the furniture, the clothes, the walls, everything in there. Mm. It takes a long time to do that.
If you want to be uncomfortable at night, have a home that is not cooled. That is the most miserable feeling. You're sweaty and uncomfortable, and so if you need information about a cooling unit or heating unit, talk with Ricky Thornton at Thornton Service Company in Sylacauga. And finally, this morning, some of the older units, they had engines like a 747. It sounded like they're at an airport right next door. But now then, most of them are pretty quiet.
They are quiet. The sound decibel level is getting on down there, and some of them make a little more noise when it's in the heat mode. But I even had a customer tell me a couple of years ago that the brand new unit that I had just started up, and I was standing beside it listening to it, he was just inside the house. He told me it wasn't running because he couldn't hear it. Won't call any names.
There you go. Ricky Thornton from Thornton Service Company, our guest this morning. That telephone number to reach you again. And is there a Facebook page or anything like that you do?
I'm online, so you can go there and get my information also. But 256-404-4146, tservco@bellsouth.net.
All right, Rick, thanks for joining us this morning, sir.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
More on Daybreak in just a minute.